Hi, I'm Theo, and these broadcasts are to support the blogs on nomorec.com's website as well as the online classes. In this episode, we talk about the free academic library online database, the Institute for the Study of Islam and Christianity Library. Okay, welcome back to another broadcast of nomorec.com. So, over here, there is a unique tool that I want to describe. It is free, but it requires one to register. So I am a part of Asian Theological Association, and by virtue of that, I have gotten access to a very special library through the Institute for the Study of Islam and Christianity. So I have their website up here. I'll include the link in the description. Obviously, you need a username and password. Otherwise, you click on this register button. And you have to follow through the steps. And what I will say about this is I use this tool all the time. They have limited access. So this is a library hosted, I believe, out of the UK, and I hope in future videos to highlight some of the other aspects of some of the groups over there that are offering help to students, especially in parts of the world that are less fortunate. And so this took me a long time to get access by. So if you are a student, then my suggestion is you're going to have to contact your school's administration. And let me explain it this way. I, as a professor, had to contact my institution's administration, and the administration probably is going to be aware of this. If they're not aware of it, then they're going to have to study it out. And so I had to push my administration to study it out. So that was my problem of getting access, because they did not. And so the administration of the institution of which you're a part of is going to have to make special arrangements to apply for this. Now, once they do, then it's just a matter of going through the registration. And when you click this accept button and move on in, they're going to send you a form, and you get the your school's primary administrator to fill out the form and submit it. And when your school's primary administrator does that, then it's usually approved. If your school or institution is not connected already, then your primary administrator will have to pursue it. So it's a detailed, lengthy process, and it is difficult in the sense that they want to be certain who they're offering these services to, because they have limited access. And so usually once a year, they will clean out the register, and they will find users who are not actively using the service, and they will delete them from their records, and they'll make room for new students. And so they have access, they budget. So they offer this as a free service. They obviously are paying for access to the many things that you're going to see in this website. So so they only have a limited budget, so they can only have a limited number of users, and so they keep that to a minimum. And of course, they budget every year how many new users they can add, while at the same time they are removing older users. For example, if someone graduates, then they no longer need these services. Or if maybe their degree takes them into practical areas, or whatever reason their studies require them to focus elsewhere. And they do not require the services of this library, so therefore they don't access it. So their name is removed from the roll just by virtue of their inactivity. So my encouragement up front is that as powerful of a tool as this is, and it is powerful, it is excellent, one must continue to use it or you lose it. And one must, as long as you're at the outset able to give them reasons why in the documents you fill out, why you need access to this, what you plan to use it for. So myself as a researcher, then I'm allowed access, and they have never questioned it once they gave it to me. It was just my institution did not have, had not filled out all the proper whatever paperwork and had not registered properly, so that it took time for me to get, only because my primary administrator had failed to do what he was supposed to do. Now, I want to clarify this. If your primary administrator, you need to go to your primary administrator. They should know about this. So there has been, especially since the pandemic, and this has been ongoing before the pandemic, but especially because of the pandemic, there have been so many seminars that your administrator should be aware of this. If your administrator is not aware of this, then they have to pursue it. And until they, as an institution, are granted access, then until that happens, then you cannot get access. And so that's what it took for me. And once I got my access, then I'm able to keep it. So it kind of reminds me of Logos in the sense that once you get free Logos, it's yours for life. So as far as I know, now I'm free to use this service as long as I use it, as long as they see I'm actively using it, which in my research I actively am. Aside from health issues, I'm regularly accessing this website on a regular basis. So I'm going to show you in this video how to use this. It is free once you get access, although the access is difficult to get, and someone who gets access should be respectful of their policies and rules, meaning if you really don't have a need for this service, then you probably should let them know so that you can get off the register and allow someone who really does need it to use it. That's number one. So, and usually by virtue of inactivity, you're going to be removed. I think they send out an email annually letting you know that they're going to review your usage and then adjust their roster accordingly. Number two, you have to respect academically this tool in the sense that if you get items from this library electronically and then you share them too openly to those who do not have access, then they can revoke your access. So this online database, this library, is going to allow you to access so many other services, and those services want to protect what they have by virtue of their reputation with everything they're doing. So if they are put in danger because of a user who's misusing and taking items off the library and then sharing them openly on the internet for people who do not have access, I guess the proper term is piracy, then it calls into question their policies, and they will change those policies accordingly. So for them to escape, repercussions, they have to come down hard on anyone who abuses their policies. So you have to be very careful about what you do with the resources that you receive via this service. And it is my hope that wherever I teach, that students have access to this database, and they've already registered by virtue of it, and then I can assign assignments or have an understanding that this is going to be in their purview, so they can use these tools then to access materials. Okay, so this is important. So I'm not going to click accept because I've already signed up for this, and you just have to click accept, and you just have to honor all of their policies, and then be willing to go through and abide by these policies and go through these resources. And I'll be honest with you, everything you click here, A, you may not use because I don't use it all, but B, there's still restricted or limited access. So you have to respect it for what it is. You have to be grateful that they're able to offer you as much free content as they are. At the same time, be willing to use it in a proper, appropriate manner. Now, because of what I just said and outlined, this is not going to be available for everyone. So this is free resources for academics who are in less fortunate situations and unable to garner access to many of these places. So I want to go through these and review these and show you what you can get, and hopefully even at least my students will then be able to avail themselves of these services. I've logged in, and I don't know. I appreciate this library very much. I appreciate their intensity, their passion, their devotion to their discipline, and I appreciate everything they offer. But it seems like to me I do have difficulties at times logging in. So I've learned that rather than contacting them, to first be patient and try to log in, several times before contacting them and seeing if there's a problem with my account per se with them. Now, I think it should be obvious. Again, this is the Institute for the Study of Islam and Christianity. They are an actual physical library, so they do actually have books. So if you're able to access their library physically, this is a tool also they use for their physical library. Obviously, I'm not where they're located, so I don't use their physical services, but you can do some searching here at the top, which I have not really played with that much. I'm more or less deal with the things here on the bottom. So, but they have their hours listed, and there's an email here that you can contact them, and there's a website. So it says those wishing to apply for one of our academic courses can go here. So these folks are the ones that are offering these services to so many people. So this is the main website. So if your administrator needs to get to a relationship built up with this group here on the right side of the page, that's where you want to go. ocrpl.org. You want to go there, and when you go there, then that's where your administrator is going to be able to begin the process to the form explains it. So, and it may not be the easiest thing to understand. So again, it says click register, fill in only once. Please upload your completed application form. That's for you. But your administrator already has to have filled out something and applied, and then it's really easy for you to get your form. So anyway, the main benefits I get from is this center section here, the online theological resources. You have access to JSTOR. Now, if you don't know about JSTOR, you should. JSTOR is a wonderful thing to get access to. Most people pay for it. Because of the pandemic, they often offer ways for you as a student, or anyone, to get access. So that alone, just clicking that link from this page takes you to the JSTOR main page, and you're logged in by virtue of this library, and you get the benefits of membership with this library, and you get access to JSTOR articles, but not all. But you get access to many. And from there you can, actually download PDFs. And I say that in this sense. Most of what I do over here, there's limited electricity or there's limited internet sometimes. So it's good to download the PDFs, and then I can read them when there's no internet or there's, no electricity. I still have my laptop. So, and it's kind of nice, I guess. It's kind of the form of, before we all did online, we wanted to have a physical copy of the book. Well, a lot of the tools that I offer, are online tools, but I kind of like Logos, the program, rather than using Logos through a browser. And I kind of like sifting through a PDF rather than sifting it through a PDF that's via JSTOR.org. I like to download it. So I still have that kind of feeling. But if you were to share that PDF with someone else and somehow it gets out and pirated, it's going to be tied to you somehow. And they're going to come back to you, and you're going to get removed from this library. And JSTOR is going to have a problem with these folks running their library. And then, they're going to have a problem with you and your institution. It's going to get a nightmare. So be very careful. Now, JSTOR, I think, like I said, they have their own policies, and they offer students access. So I think anyone can access JSTOR, obviously the website. And you can sign up either for a paid account, or you can get access, anyone, I think, on a limited basis. So there is a way to access JSTOR, and that's the number one place I use, and that's why I believe it's at the top. Okay. So now remember, this is some based on, you can read who they are over here on the left. And so some of these other databases I don't use as much. So like the Oxford bibliographies, I haven't used as much, although it does have some biblical studies there. And I'm not as familiar with like EBSCO somewhat, but you can access, again, this is Arab World Research, again, more with the study of Islam and the Arab world. So that's their focus. So there's access there. So you get to go EBSCO, but then you're going to go through here. There's the ATLA religious database. So that's wonderful. You want to check that out. There's the ebook religion collection. Here's a wonderful place where I go often, and I find books here in electronic form, which through this collection, through this library, and clicking this link here, after you've logged in here and clicking to this link, you get to go and get access to that. And there's many books there that I can get my students to use that for either assignments or their research for their assignments. Specific assignments can be assigned from the books in this collection, or they use this collection and books from this collection to do their assignments. So as a professor, it works either way. The religion and philosophy collection is also the same. Access to the ProQuest, obviously, and the Encyclopedia of the Bible and its reception. This is an excellent tool. Okay, the Encyclopedia of the Bible and its reception. So you're going to want to go there, and I go here a lot, and so I think you should check that out. And it's a wonderful encyclopedia. Very few encyclopedias I have encountered. So Bible dictionaries, encyclopedias I've encountered that are as wonderful as this one. This costs a fortune if you want to get membership too, and this is wonderful. I come here just about as much as I go to JSTOR at times, depending. And I love their articles because if you go to a normal Bible dictionary, then you look up an entry, and most of the time it's one author giving his view. So I'll use the Heiser's 5-minute challenge videos on my website to give you an example. So say, for instance, if you go to the video that I did and you go to a Bible dictionary entry, and in that example I used the atonement. If you go in there and you open up a Bible dictionary in Logos and you look up the word atonement, you see that it covers several areas where in periods of history they've understood the atonement, from the Hebrew Bible on into the Second Temple period literature, through the New Testament period into the early church fathers, and so patristic period. So, but it's all by one author, and he's trying to cover all those areas. But it's one author, and where that author has his expertise and where he is studied, What's interesting about EBR is when you go to the article on atonement in EBR, when it begins with like the Old Testament, that person that's writing that section of that article on the atonement has expertise in that field specifically. So they have specifically chosen an author to write specifically who has expertise in that area, proven him or herself academically in that specific, entry to write for that specific time period. And when they switch to like the New Testament, they switch authors. You're still in the same article on the atonement, but you have a new author. Why? Because you switched from Old Testament to New Testament. You see what I'm saying? So it's a rather remarkable way of doing it. So it's very, very cool in that sense. And there's more here. There's Brill. Obviously, there's the Journal of Ecumenical Studies, and just more with understanding lots of other places and other universities. Just a number of other links, and here's a bunch of free links at the bottom, and I'm not going to go through all these in this video. And this is someone I was talking about. I have a PDF of over 10 pages that has links just like this on those 10 pages, and I think I sent that document to these folks, and I don't know that they've gone through mine and added any of mine here or not. I'm not sure. So these are a lot of places where you can go online and click, and they're free, and you can go to these places and they have resources available for you to study. Okay, so these are wonderful resources that you can check out. And so, there are times that I've gone here for my research to some of these links, because I have many of these, if not all of them, in my other PDF. And more again on Islam, and more on ebooks, so you can get access to all these wonderful places. Of course, JSTOR has again open access books that you can check out. Hati, there's the Internet Archive, of course. That kind of got changed here recently because some privacy laws and concerns that came up. And so that changed. So some of that is not as much as it was before, but you can still get access to some of these things per request for USA and University of Cambridge, Minnesota, and even the Wesleyan Holy Digital Library. So there are a lot of tools here that you're going to want to check out. So that is just wonderful. So this is a great tool, and I'm probably going to have to do a separate video maybe on JSTOR or EBR or some of these others that I use more often, depending on as I teach classes where I want my students to go. I may have to show them a video to explain this better for them. So, but anyway, so hopefully this little review gets you an idea. So to sum up, to get access to this library, the institution that you are attached to is going to need to contact these folks, okay? And they are going to have to establish a relationship with them. And the way I did it is my institution established a relationship with OCRPL. And then by virtue of that, then I was able to finally fill out and submit my form. And I had to submit my form to my institution's administrator, and my administrator has to sign off on it. And then through my administrator, it goes to this library. And then this library signs off on it because they have already approved membership by anyone that's attached to that institution. And so they don't have to approve me. The institution approves me that I'm a part of, and then I get access by virtue of that. And I just have to remain active, and I have to honor their all that's involved in being granted this. I'm of the opinion that what is being offered here is such a gift. Do not take this lightly, and I don't. This is just extremely of extreme blessing. I am so grateful to have access to this. I'm just awed that God has provided these people in this ministry, and that I can get access to this, because this has been very integral in my studies, and even as a teacher, that my students have access to this has been integral for them, so that I can do my studies, so I can assign things from Logos that I know that are free, and then I can assign things from this library because I know my students have access to this library. And it's incredible to be able to do that, to design and do research and design curriculum, design lectures, to design everything, to write, content, produce content from here, to get it to my students. And then my students can do the same thing. They can either, again, access this for resources to do an assignment specifically that I assign from here, or that I assign a project, and then they can use this. And I don't get this complaint from my students, but we don't have access to any resources. So because we did the atonement video, I really like that. And, I can't really show you EBR, the atonement article, but if you go back and watch that video where I did show it in the Lexham Bible Dictionary, and those sections, EBR has the same thing, but they're by different authors. And I think that's incredible. And what you can pull and learn from that is just phenomenal. So it's unreal, all the access you get. And I'm not able to go in depth. I mean, this is just very surface level of what this tool here, how golden this tool is. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed today's little free tool. It's not so little. Thank you very much, and God bless you for listening. Stay tuned for more episodes and videos to help you with your journey from nomorec.com.